Durant pull-up jumper off the rim, and and the Thunder win! Oh, come on, let's sing the Thunder song.
Wait.
When you hear the sound of thunder, don't you get too scared. Just grab your Thunder buddy and say these magic words.
Hello and welcome back to another edition of the Thunder Buddies podcast. I'm back here off season one again with, of course, Darnell Mayberry. And again, a special guest, the man, the myth, the legend, back from Italia or wherever, all the places you went. Barry Tramel in the building. Good to have you back. It's been a while.
It has been a while, gentlemen. And Italy's the only place I went.
Can you follow the NBA, and were you following the offseason and stuff from Italy? How? Because you're not a Twitter man. You are not a Twitter guy.
I don't get on Twitter when I'm at home. Why would I get on it in Italy?
I'm not saying you did. I'm just saying I know it wasn't Twitter.
I didn't even have data on my cell phone. But just each night or morning, I'd get on the internet and see what's going on. Check you guys and check True Hoop and just see.
He's a true hoop man. Barry Tramel's a true hoop man.
I read it every day. It helps me keep up with the league.
You were disappointed in the draft, I read. I couldn't imagine being on a 9-hour flight and then getting over there and
I was disappointed.
And then Mitch McGary and Josh Houston. So what was that like? You don't have internet access, and all of a sudden you get there, you see Mitch McGary and Josh Houston.
Yeah, well, I said him and who?
Yeah, that's what we said too.
That's what I said.
Well, that's what I said. He said, "Go blue," and then who?
I started singing "Hell to the Victors," but that's just me.
I think Darnell didn't even see the Houston pick because he passed out when he heard Mitch McGary. Well, Mitch McGary, I mean,
yeah, everything. I have no problem with Mitch McGary's game. If he just not go smoke his way out of the league, I'll have no problems with him.
That's a bold statement. One failed drug test, right?
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it's on record, obviously, that he has smoked. So, we'll see. Tell me about Italy, though, before we get too much into Thunder Hoops.
It was fantastic.
I was going to say, because I remember you coming on this podcast saying, I can't go. I don't want to go anywhere that doesn't, the U.S. Constitution doesn't rule.
Well, I still stand by that. That's a good way to live your life. But my wife had the chance to go, so I went with her, and we enjoyed it. I'd go back.
How many countries you been to?
4 now.
Okay.
Canada, Mexico, USA, and Italy.
I'm about to pitch to the Travel Channel. They need to just Barry travels the world and just follow Barry Tramel around the world.
He'd write him a good blog.
Write him a good blog. It'd be a great video.
Let me tell you what, the worst part was the internet was bad at my first hotel. I had all these great pictures from Rome with the Colosseum and the Forum and the Parthenon, and it would take me an hour to load a picture. So I only loaded one picture from my blog while I was in Rome each day. So that was the bummer to me.
Barry travels to Puerto Rico for spring break. Barry goes to...
I ain't going anywhere for spring, unless there's an NCAA regional in San Juan.
What was the coolest part of Italy?
I thought it was the Roman Colosseum.
Yeah.
But it was also Venice. If you've never been to Venice, you just can't. It's unfathomable what kind of city that is. It's a city without streets.
Yeah.
It's a city. It's all alleyways and canals. Literally, it's a literal statement. No cars in Venice. No place to put them.
Jeez.
And just the antiquity of all the buildings. Not all the buildings, but a lot of the buildings. Arezzo's a town of the size of Norman, and probably a quarter of the city is built in buildings that were from the 1400s, 1200s, 1300s, and 20 feet apart. The streets are 20 feet wide, and cars sort of go real slow up them. Mostly it's people walking and sitting outside, and just totally different than what we have. It's totally different.
Okay, I got a question about Rome.
Yes.
Because you said the way you described it in your blog is you did a ton of walking. Is that
yes.
Is that by choice because you want to see all the historic buildings, or is that just how you have to do in Rome? Because it made me not want to go to Rome.
They have a subway.
You got to walk
They
that
have
much.
a subway. They have a subway. I've heard it's not great, but the taxis are relatively cheap. You could take a taxi. Like, instead of walking to the Coliseum, take a taxi. You could do that.
But you're missing out on stuff if you take a cab.
No, you'll see stuff in the cab.
You can't really experience it and
it's
enjoy it.
The best way to experience is walk it. And it's not, when I say walk, I'm not talking about walking from Harlem down to the Wall Street. I'm not talking about 6 miles.
Yeah.
I mean, but you walk a mile to the Coliseum, then you walk a mile over to the Parthenon, and then you walk a mile back to your hotel, or stuff like that. I'm just saying, and maybe it's 2 miles each. So you get worn out. A lot of walking, but you don't have to do that.
Yeah, but that's how traveling is. You almost want to walk. I mean, you want to take the subway to get the experience probably a little bit, but then, walk and you might run into some cool different things.
Of stuff. Yeah, I walk all over New York when I go to New York.
I do too.
Best meal you had?
I had lobster fettuccine, my last night in Rome.
Is the Italian food there just like?
You know what? It's overrated.
Really?
Oh, don't tell me.
Now listen. That doesn't mean it's not good. It's like Duke.
It's kind of like Chick-fil-A.
Oh, no,
it's overrated. But it doesn't mean it's not good.
We're trying to get a sponsor.
Guys, it's like Duke basketball. Duke basketball's overrated. That doesn't mean it's not good or even great. It's just overrated. But it is consistently good. You don't find much bad.
Yeah, you're not going.
The pizza was. I've been told the pizza's different. It's not. The pizza was excellent and cheap.
Did you warm up to the lack of sauce on pasta and the pizza?
Yeah, I did okay. I did all right. You're right. The sauce is very light. The sauce is very light.
As you started, you were like, okay, this is different. And did you warm up to it and say, all right, I can get used to this? Or did you find yourself thinking, hey, I need some sauce?
I was okay with it.
When you went to the Italian places, was it almost like only tourists? Like people there view it as like, I'm going for get a hamburger basically if you're here.
Rephrase the question.
I'm interested in how the Italian joints were. There like authentic, real ones or famous ones. Where'd you go?
No, we just went to we didn't go to any place famous as far as I know. Every place we went was relatively inexpensive. Went to one place that was sort of expensive, but most of the time you could get a nice dish of pasta for €8, which is about whatever that is, $10 or so, $11, and so it was. The pizza was incredibly inexpensive. Go get a slice of pizza for €2 or €3. Get a full small pizza for €8.
Did they have like Chinese food places and American places?
In Rome, there was a Chinese restaurant. And in Arezzo, there was a hamburger place we tried to go to, and they were closed. We couldn't get in. They said it's a very good hamburger.
Any like American fast food places, McDonald's?
There was a Burger King.
That's always weird to me.
In Venice, which just blows your mind.
Yeah.
And there was a McDonald's. Are everywhere. They're everywhere. And they charge 25 cents per ketchup packet. €25, a quarter of €1 for a packet of ketchup.
Interesting.
We actually got stuck at a McDonald's waiting on somebody to pick us up at one time, so we got some French fries for a snack, and my wife said, "Hey, give me some ketchup." So I came back with 2 packets of ketchup and half €1 empty in my pocket.
Did you happen to see a Sonic?
No Sonic, but I can tell you this: if I ever get brave, if I ever get adventurous, if I ever become an entrepreneur, I'm going to buy a franchise of Sonic and put it in Rome and start putting the vineyard industry out of business. Because let me tell you,
going to just ravage Italy, and
they need some cherry root beers over in Rome. Is what you're saying?
Everybody, the wine's less expensive than the water. You can drink water cheaper than you can drink wine cheaper than you can drink water, and there's more of it. But I find it to be sort of nasty stuff. I don't care.
The wine?
Yeah, the wine. And we actually, I only sipped it a couple of times to be sporting, and the one place I did it was like the most. Well, we actually ate at a 5-star restaurant. Probably would have cost €200 if we'd have paid for it, but we signed up for this cooking class. My wife wanted to go to this place in Tuscany, take a cooking class. I went with her. Cost a ton to go to the cooking class, but dinner comes with it, and it's an unbelievable restaurant. And I had some of their wine, and it was nasty.
All right.
It gets better the more glasses you have.
Yeah, I think so.
All right. Thunder Hoops.
Hold on 1 second. The pasta. I can't imagine all of these places that, these sidewalk cafes that you described have homemade pasta. All of the pasta's homemade, or is
I can't say that.
Places,
I don't know, but I can tell you this. We made pasta at this cooking class, and it's fairly easy.
Tedious, though.
No, well, tedious. If you know what you're doing, you can do it fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do it fast.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but it was all pretty good. So
once you have homemade pasta, you don't ever want American Beauty noodles again.
I got no problem with American Beauty noodles. So frankly, I don't know that I could tell the difference.
Okay, one last thing about this.
Jeez.
Can we get you back out of the country?
Sure. Yeah, I'd go back to Italy.
Are you more open to
Yes.
traveling abroad?
Okay, I'm the one that wants to get this to Thunder
Yes.
Topics, but one question. If you had to go to a different country, what's your next
clearly
country?
I'd go to the United Kingdom. Scotland, Ireland,
Okay.
England.
Okay.
There's any doubt about that.
Easy enough. Thunder basketball probably
Or
the topic we're here to-
plan B is anywhere but France.
Oh
What do you
my.
got against the French?
Jeez.
I got a lot against the French.
Oh my.
Starting with their arrogance and attitude.
You love Tony Parker. You love Boris Diaw.
Boris Diaw, yeah.
I
You
like
do
the way
love
they play
Boris
ball.
Diaw.
Well, I
They're
like the way
nice people.
I didn't say they weren't. I also didn't say they were.
Okay, before he
I think you and your
says
wife would
something
love
he's going to
Paris.
regret.
Yeah, maybe.
Before he's going to say something he's going to regret. Thunder basketball.
Did you hear from any Amish people?
Jeez.
You
About
cut-
the deal in my column today?
No, this was a while back.
What did I say
In your
about the
travel
Amish?
blog. You said that you just took a shot at them.
I don't know that I took a shot at the Amish. Have I ever taken a shot at the Amish?
I'll pull it up for you. Go ahead, Anthony. He wants to talk more
I did
about
say
Steven Adams.
today in today's column. I said baseball's about as innovative
That's what
as
it
the
was.
Amish.
That's what it was. I
That
was reading the
today.
blog, and that was today. Yeah.
Yeah,
today.
that was today.
I hadn't heard from any Amish. The Amish have not been so innovative to.
I was going to say
To
they,
get into
they-
email.
Yeah, they probably haven't read it, especially if it's on a blog. All right. Off season. Barry said he followed it. That was one of my questions. So, I saw your blog on Pau Gasol. I thought it was kind of interesting. I guess we're about to start talking about more international things, but you never thought he had a chance,
Well,
even though some people saying he's front runner. I thought he fit incredible on the court, but you just thought that the fact the city was the thing that drew him away.
Yeah, I didn't see. I love Paul Gasol, but after being around him and seeing the way he conducts himself, I thought it was a long shot that he'd come here or San Antonio.
But you strictly said that because city. It just the city didn't fit him.
City.
I can see it to a point, but I mean, don't you agree that during the NBA season you live here, but you travel literally half the time you're traveling.
Makes sense to me. Yeah, I'm
and then
with
in the
you.
off season you can live anywhere you want.
I'm with you, but he strikes me as a guy that,
I think it was more financial. I just think Chicago could pay him a little bit more, and the city obviously is a little bit better.
How much did Chicago end up paying him?
I
Do we know?
think what did Chicago pay
$9
him?
million or
It
something.
was
At
around
least
10.
9
It
or
was
10.
around 10.
So I think it was more financial than city, but I thought you made an interesting point. And you're right. He's traveled, and
I thought he might go to New York.
they didn't.
Big
They
for this-
had no money.
Well, here's why I thought he could go sign a 1-year deal in New York, and
Wait till get money next offseason.
wait till next summer, and his brother might be able to join him
Yeah,
because Mark becomes a free agent, and I assume they'd like to play together.
it's true. But then he's betting on himself to not have bad injury problems, which he's had.
Yeah, it's true.
You might want
Yeah.
some financial flexibility long term.
But you say he's a great fit
Here, I think it would be a incredible fit.
offensively, no doubt. But I just wondered.
Well,
You
yeah,
take
I mean,
a step back defensively.
Yeah, I just wondered how that
Yeah,
would
they
all.
take it.
I think RFD was right. The days of Kendrick Perkins are over if they sign Paul Gasol.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
So then,
okay,
but then what do you do? What do you do on defense?
Adams gets minutes. Serge Ibaka blocks shots. You take a little step back defensively and a big step up
Yeah,
offensively.
you could be right.
They're a better team if Pau Gasol's here. I think
that's
clear.
probably true. I just thought it was I'm not saying it was a bad fit. I'm
It
just
would have
saying
been interesting to see.
it was an interesting fit.
The point that wasn't made within it all, and why the Thunder I think were kind of a little lukewarm on it, is if they get Pau and they sign him, they'd have to sign him to at least probably 3 years. It takes money away from possibly getting Reggie Jackson next offseason, and we know they want financial flexibility to do that.
They got that now.
Yeah, they do, because Perk's off the books, and they don't have anybody. I mean, you got Morrow for 3 years, $10 million. That's almost a minimum.
They can sign up Reggie if they want to.
I mentioned Morrow. I don't think even me and Darnell have had a podcast since they signed him. I thought it was a great signing. It's something we've talked about. It's not Mike Miller, but it's near Mike Miller. I think the only difference is Mike Miller's 2-time champion,
Well, yeah,
more proven.
Yeah, he's more playoff tested.
Yeah, 0 playoff.
But his
games
numbers
or
are
more.
better than Mike Miller. He's a better shooter than Mike Miller. The numbers say. That's what the numbers say. I don't know anything about any of them, but the numbers say
He's.
Anthony
I
Morrow's
think
better.
he's he's a guy more than Mike Miller. I think that like, hey, you bring him in one game out of every 6, it's like, oh, he's hot, and it's like 4, 5, 6. He's 6 to 8 from 3.
42% though. You're not a streak shooter. I don't think at 42%. You're a good shooter.
I think he's average a lot of times, and then he has these blow-ups. I mean, this guy's had 42-point games, 37-point games. He's had some huge games in his career.
Who?
Anthony Morrow
has had a 42-point game.
42-point game in New Jersey a couple years ago. 37-point game in his first start ever. 25 points the next game. I mean, I'll just put it like this: he's had 21.
I was on his bandwagon before I knew that.
Okay, clearly he didn't read my story. But anyways,
I've been reading Barry's travel blog.
He's been reading your travel blog, not reading my story about the Thunder. He's had 21 games of 25 or more points, and he's had 6 games of 30 or more points. Nobody on the Reggie Jackson's the only guy on the Thunder roster, non-Durant, Westbrook, with a 30-point game. And then they don't even have as much combined non-Durant and Westbrook 25-point games as Morrow. He can explode.
He's clearly a very good offensive player. It's not any question about that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think it's a great signing.
Is he that bad defensively?
Well,
he must
I have no idea,
right?
but he's got to be. He's got to be.
He's only getting 18 minutes on the Pelicans last year. I don't.
Yeah, if you're out there and available for $3 million, something's up.
Something's up.
So,
and you know,
it's got to be his defense.
And you know what? I hear good things about his locker room.
Yeah. No, everything I've heard is he's an adult.
Someone said he was the adult in the room for the Pelicans.
Kevin Arnovich, the well-respected ESPN guy, said that. I think he's going to fit in locker room wise. We know they don't usually sign people that won't.
Scotty Brooks has a decision to make. How do you play this guy?
I think it's simple. You don't play Andre Robertson unless very needed.
Well, he's starting.
That's what I keep hearing. That's what I keep hearing.
That ship has sailed.
See,
you think it's for sure Andre Robertson
I don't
starts?
think he can start, RFD. You think he can start?
I don't.
He's bad
First of all,
on
let me
offense.
just say this. It's not what I think.
Yeah.
It's what they think.
But
I'm telling you what they think. I'm not telling you what I think. If you're asking me what I think,
Jeremy Lamb.
I think, I'd like to see him start, but I do think Andre Robertson is a capable starter. I'm warming up to it. I saw him in Summer League. He did. Granted, it's Summer League. We talked about this last summer with Steven Adams. But the things that he does, like he doesn't need the ball in his hands. He knows his limitations. He knows how to play to his strengths. And limit his
the
weaknesses.
other team knows his limitations, and they literally play in the paint while he's at the 3-point line and go,
Barry,
shoot it.
You know what? He might actually be a fairly decent offensive player because there'll be so many defensive 3-second violations.
Yeah.
The thing is, if they start Steven Adams, I think you can get away with starting Andre.
If you start all Adams, it helps. I think you're right. I think it helps. If you start
Perkins, then you're right back to where you've been the last 4.5 seasons.
Well, you're not back to where you've been because Tabo, on occasions, made a shot. This guy, I'm not sure that Andre Roberson could win a shooting contest against you two guys. That's a literal statement. That's a literal statement.
Yeah, Slater, nobody could.
If we stood the three of you,
Slater likes his chances against Kevin Durant. You talk to him about his game.
If I'm hot,
see what I'm saying?
I haven't made a basket since the 90s. But
that's not true.
If you two and Andre Roberson got on the 3-point line and had a shoot off, he might finish last. And you're talking about starting him for an NBA contender. So
he shot 13 threes last year. He started, 16 games? He played 40. He shot 13 threes. He's not going to be taking them a lot.
Yeah, but I literally can vividly remember plays where it screwed up the offense a little bit because like they left him so open. They swung it, and Robertson had it at the 3-point line opening, and he was like, I can't really shoot that.
It's bad, but he does so many. Like we talk about Kendrick Perkins, Barry, you're chief among them. About all the little things that Kendrick Perkins does. Look how bad he is on offense.
But you have to guard Kendrick Perkins because he'll be 3 feet from the basket.
So will Andre Roberson. That's what he did in college.
You're gonna post him?
Yeah, are you gonna post him? Now here's the deal. He's got some offensive value just because of that
cutter
rebounding.
On the fast break, and he's a cutter.
Putbacks,
that offensive rebounding,
transition.
But in terms
there's ways that he could probably. Now I'm going to look foolish on this if I say this.
I wouldn't say it.
I'm going to look back.
I wouldn't say it.
There are ways that he could average 6 to 8 points a game.
That's a false statement.
Here's the deal though. You come down and set up your offense. Just go run it Russell Westbrook if you're guarding him. Just go double team Russell.
Yeah, right.
He'll cut.
Well, let him cut. You nobody else is. You got your two big guys. Let him cut.
And we mentioned Perks out there. You can help off Perk if he's cutting. Then you trust Robertson to make a nice little nifty pass to Perk. Perk with the catch and the finish.
Maybe you're right. But I tend to.
I don't love the idea. I'm warming up to the idea.
I'm leaning more towards Jeremy Lamb.
What?
I agree. I think you go Lamb, and then you go Morrow off the bench. You got great offense in there. You got great shooting with these guys.
Jackson and Morrow off the bench.
Jackson and Morrow off the bench. There's your scoring. You got Lamb in the lineup, and then hey, Jody Meeks or somebody random is going off. There's not a lot of defensive energy. Robertson's your energy guy off the bench, a defender that hey, we need that guy slowed down. I understand that their mindset is we can't let guys get
James
going.
James Harden, Klay Thompson, Dwayne Wade, DeMar DeRozan.
We're not debating
Aaron Aflalo. All of these guys are starting shooting guards that they don't want getting off to good starts. If you put Jeremy Lamb against them, and trust me, I just said I'd like to see Jeremy Lamb start.
How about, hey, Russell Westbrook, time to step up your defensive game. Go guard the best perimeter player on the other team.
All right, who's going to guard Ty Lawson? Jeremy Lamb?
No.
Who's going to guard Jeremy Lin is in Jeremy Lin in Los Angeles. Somebody's got to guard Kobe. Somebody's got to guard Jeremy Lin.
Well, you're the one that always talks about closing is just as important as opening. You know who's not closing games next year? Andre Robertson is not.
But yeah,
whatever.
Here's what I say about Jeremy Lamb. He was not very good on defense last season. I don't think that means he's destined to be a bad defender.
No,
he's still young enough. I think he could turn into a solid defender. He's long. He's quick. He's still young. He just turned 22 after the season ended. So, I mean, I think it's up to him to become a good defender, but I think the possibility's there.
And to me, we're not talking about what the Thunder are going to do because I agree with you. I think Andre Robertson is going to start at two guard. We're talking about what I think they should do, and I don't
all three
think
of us agree that it should be Jeremy Lamb.
Surprisingly, we all
agree.
It'll
be wild, won't it? If Andre Roberson starts, that'll be wild.
First of all, you got to get his name right.
Roberson.
Okay.
Robertson.
It's tricky.
It's not tricky if you just think it's Robertson without the T.
Robertson. Okay.
Like Oscar.
Okay.
Without the T.
All right.
Easy enough.
Okay,
I got a question. Does Mitch McGary, in your estimation, Barry, get minutes next season?
I think it's most likely that he's in the rotation by the end of the season.
I would have said no chance draft night or after the draft, but he impressed me something. Like I don't want to say too many good things, and I can't even look at Darnell while I say this, but I was really impressed with him in summer league. He's big, he's nifty, he's skilled, he's powerful, he's confident.
Here's the truth.
He's a big frat guy.
By the end of the season, except for those two games when Serge was hurt and Collison started, Collison had dipped out of the rotation in a lot of games. Now, he had the great game against the Clippers where he played the last 17 minutes or whatever it was, but he was sort of falling from the rotation anyway.
He's kind of more, I feel like, it's going to turn into like an emergency break if necessary.
Yeah, just
type guy. I mean, he's declining.
He's a little bit like Perk is eventually going to be, which is he's going to play in certain situations against certain teams. And a lot of teams he won't play against.
Yeah.
Who's this, Mitch?
Collison.
No,
Collison.
Oh, he's paying attention.
Yeah, well.
You heard McGary and you just
sadly
got lost.
I thought we were talking about Mitch McGary. I don't think he's going to play much, but I'm with you. By the end of the season, he could be in the rotation.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the deal. You put McGary, say with Perk, like Ibaka's going to sit down. You put McGary in with Perk, and you still got the offensive-defensive relationship there. Whereas if you go Collison and Perk, you don't have a whole lot of offense.
Are you down on Steven Adams' defense? It feels like
no. I mean, I think he's like.
I think he could be a good.
I think he's like Lamb. Well, two things. I think he's like Lamb in this. I think he's going to get better and better.
Okay.
He's already good at the rim protection.
And he's physical. Like his post defense is good. He'll foul, but I mean he'll stay physical.
Well, but he's got.
I think where he's bad is pick and roll.
And that's a big, but he's also got to quit fouling
in this game.
He's got to quit fouling.
Yeah.
It not because it puts the other team on the line, because it puts him on the bench. He had some games where he'd get 3 fouls in 6 minutes.
Yeah.
So that's got to change. But I think he's going to start, don't you?
I think he's got to start. I'm not sure that he
Steven
will.
Adams? You think he's going to start?
I think he's going to start.
I wouldn't today. As of today, I'd say no.
You'd say no. I think he's going to start.
I think
I'm split on it.
Because I have something fairly profound to say here. I think our man Scotty Brooks has reached the point where it's not really the Boys and Girls Club anymore. It's more, I like this job. I better keep it. I think I'm going to get serious about some stuff.
Yeah.
I agree with you, but I just from opening day, though I think it would make the most sense.
It makes so much sense. He's the future. I mean, it's like, why not? Can we all agree he's already better than Kendrick Perkins? He's a better player.
No.
Overall.
No.
I'm surprised we can't agree on that. But
Well,
right.
I mean, I don't.
I just think you grow him as much as you can during the season. Where
I
look,
agree.
you're
That's why I would do it. I'd get him ready for the playoffs.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes,
I'd get him ready.
He's
for,
a.
But I don't think that'll happen.
And that means 28 minutes a game.
Yeah, because look, you're gonna win around 60 games.
Either way,
Either
no matter
way,
what,
whoever's starting, you're gonna win
whatever
around
you're doing,
60.
and whether you finish first or second.
Same thing with Robertson and Lamb. You're gonna win 60 just because the stars you have. I would try to develop Lamb, who's got a higher ceiling, and
That's what I would do with
Adams,
Lamb
who's
and
got
Adams.
a higher ceiling.
That's what I would do.
So,
But like Winchester said on MASH, that's what I would do. I have I haven't the faintest notion what you will do. So who knows what the Thunder will do?
I agree. All right, you guys want to talk a little bit different offseason stuff?
I got a feeling where this is going. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I don't know where it's going. I'm sort of intrigued.
I gotta apologize to Darnell a little bit. I mean, not apologize, but I gotta admit he was right with LeBron. I don't know if his reasoning was right.
You saw the Cleveland deal?
He's been saying Cleveland for a long time. And the thing is, I thought and I still think the fit team-wise is kind of a little confusing. You even wrote I thought I could call him about, Dan Gilbert's. He's kind of lucked into a lot of what's going on right now, but he's never shown to be a good team manager, GMs-wise.
I disagreed with that a little bit, and here's why. How good of an owner was he when LeBron was there? He was a great owner.
Because he made one pick that was the most obvious pick ever.
I don't know about
and then they brought in some.
Yeah, but that's my point. One player makes you it changes the perception.
Well, they didn't win a title with LeBron. That's why LeBron had to leave, because he didn't do enough.
So I mean,
didn't put enough.
They
around
weren't good
him.
enough to win a title
Because they didn't put enough around him.
That's the point.
Is that the owner's fault or is that the GM's fault?
It's the owner for
it's
coach and GM.
It's
and
really
and
whoever
the team management.
They were doing everything to appease LeBron, and they might do it again. Who knows? They weren't. I'm not saying they were the most well-run franchise, but they were successful. And
anybody with LeBron's going to be successful.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to be.
That's my point.
But
you're proving my point.
No, to get to the level of winning a title, you need to get management and get people around them. And,
they got people
have the
around
right
them
culture.
now.
We'll see. They're too young. I think even he admitted it. But what I was going to say is, I guess I just didn't see it. Maybe you saw it like this, but just he didn't go for the team. He went for the city and the redemption
the team
and the redemption.
Well, he didn't want to stay in. He didn't want to stay in Miami with an aging Dwayne Wade with an achy knee and Chris Bosh, who's a 3-point shooter.
I just think it was a lot more about redemption and just appeasing Cleveland and bring his name back.
It had a lot to do with that, but he's going to win more. He's going to put himself in position to win more for the next 4 or 5 years or however long in Cleveland than he would have in Miami.
4 or 5, yes,
but
I
not
would
the
not
next
say
one or
the
two.
Next two.
I agree with that.
But here's what I say about LeBron. This was one of the all-time great secret keepings.
Because he was always going back.
It was from what he said. Now, we can only take him at his word, but it sounds like he knew what he wanted to do. And while we had, Chris Sheridan, a week before it happened, said, he's going back to Cleveland. Some people sort of had some guesses and some reports, but for the most part, nobody said, hey, this is
It almost seems like it's
going to happen,
something.
or this is likely to happen, or LeBron really wants to go
I don't
back.
know if you guys read the Lee Jenkins piece, but he wrote a great piece on it, and he said LeBron said he walked off the court against San Antonio after Game 5.
Not knowing yet.
Not knowing.
Well,
but in my mind, just the way it kind of has come out, now that I've looked back at it, it seems like he's known this for 2-3 years.
He also made a lot of – he's right. He made a lot of inferences that this was his grand plan.
Yeah. And I almost – it would have been really interesting to me if the Heat won the title and Wade looked pretty good in the finals.
In Miami.
I think he might have stayed if that happened.
Down in Miami, that's what they think.
Stayed.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's a what if that I think is really interesting.
Because then you go for 4 in a row.
Yeah.
Which hadn't been done since the 60s.
Don't remind me.
Oh, I forgot about that.
I
forgot about the irrational. All right, now here's my question: Has your card come in the mail for Cleveland Cavaliers fan club? Have they sent you your cap and all that kind of memorabilia?
Josh McRoberts, baby, it's the Josh McRoberts era in Miami. I actually look. They're going to be.
Pat Riley bounced back nicely.
He did. They're going to be a 4, 5, 6 seed. But
I thought
man,
Pat Riley's been the executive of the summer.
I do too. Especially if LeBron was always going to go there and that was always going to happen. I agree. The way he bounced back. This is legitimately a 4 or 5 seed, depending
I
on
agree. I think
depending on Wade's health and how he plays. You're gonna feature Bosch more. I like McRoberts as a player. Luol Deng, I know you love Luol Deng.
Luol Deng.
I thought they were gonna be a lottery team. When LeBron left, I thought it was abandoned ship. Who are they even gonna get? Lance Stevenson's gonna be running the offense. It's a pretty good team.
It's not bad. I think they probably 4th or 5th, depending on how the
45, 50 wins.
How the Wizards shake out. But Wizards and Heat right now 4 and 5.
Let's talk about the Wizards. How about that? Paul Pierce, Chris Humphries.
Oh no, Paul Pierce and Chris Humphries.
Humphries.
Oh, what an off season by the Wizards.
Hey, there's a lot of Thunder fans out there wishing they had Paul Pierce right now. I guarantee you that.
Paul Pierce a little on the old side.
I'd take Morrow over Pierce. I think if you're the Thunder.
You're crazy.
No, I would. I don't know about that. But Pierce is old.
Pierce is old, but guess what? The guy is a closer.
Yeah,
we got, John Wall, Bradley Beal. John Wall, Bradley Beal. You got your young guns. You got Marcin Gortat, overpaid now, but whatever. Nene, and then you plug in Paul Pierce. That's a good little. Starting five.
It's not as good as the starting 5 they had.
You like Ariza better?
Oh heck yeah, Ariza can guard you.
Yeah.
And Pierce a wonderful player, but he's past. It's gone.
He's slow.
You don't have to have it every night.
Got the old
you don't have
game.
to have it every night. Just have it when it matters.
I love this guy talking himself into a good offseason for the Wizards.
Hey, listen, I told you guys they were going to beat the Bulls. You guys made fun of me. They beat the Bulls. I told you they were going to lose to the Pacers. You guys like, the Pacers stink. There's no way they're going to beat the Wizards. They beat the Wizards.
Cool.
Just saying.
All right. I
told you they were going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, I don't think did I say they weren't?
I believe you did.
Somebody had to in the East.
I thought they were going to make the playoffs.
It's in the rule book. Somebody had to in the East.
I didn't think they were going to be as good as
might
they
go
were.
to the Eastern Conference Finals.
This coming
they
year?
almost did last year.
And I'm not even talking about them as a fan. I'm talking about them as watch out for this team. Like, this is about to be a really good team.
It's not only just watch out for this team. It's like, oh, my God, look at the East. The East, which was bad last year, probably got worse because Indiana's going to be worse. Lance Stevenson.
No, the East got better.
I don't know. Look, Indiana's going to be worse. Lance Stevenson gone.
Well, but
Heat got worse. Cavs are obviously Cavs I think are way better, but I mean they're a light version of the Heat. I don't think next year they'll be as good as the Heat were last year.
Way better.
And the Bulls are better. But do you trust the Bulls? Do you trust Rose to stay healthy?
I do.
Well, I think they're going to be decent without him. They'd be decent without him.
Yeah, no doubt. But I just
they're decent they were decent without him. So you put Gasol on the squad instead of Boozer.
I wonder where Carlos Boozer going to end up.
I don't know. Utah.
So you think who thinks the East is better?
I think the East is better than
you think
it was.
It's better? You think it's worse?
I think it's a little worse.
I think it's better than it was.
For one thing, it doesn't have as good a team as it did last year. The Heat.
Well, but
they don't have as good.
But they got one. But the quality of one team doesn't affect the conference. The number of good teams in your conference is what determines the quality.
You're more about depth.
Well, yeah, they got another contender for one thing. Cleveland went from 33 wins to whatever.
Yeah, but they lost. I mean, the Heat are not a contender anymore, so you lost a contender.
Well, I don't know about a contender, but I mean, they're still really solid.
Yeah, I mean, as we talked about, I'm just saying.
I think the East's going to be better. I think they're going to be better.
Charlotte's should be better.
Toronto's a year older.
Toronto's solid.
Now Brooklyn's going to take a dip.
Yeah, Brooklyn's a mess. Brooklyn's a mess.
All right, one question, because this I think turns Cleveland into a contender. Would you trade Andrew Wiggins for Love? Obviously, you got to add some stuff.
I would not trade Andrew Wiggins.
Really? I would.
Barry, you're one of the few people that I've heard that agrees with me. I wouldn't trade him
I don't
either.
think I would.
He looked incredible in Summer League, but LeBron's 30, going to be 30 next season. Kevin Love's one of the best power forwards in the game. It's a guaranteed. A guy who Kevin Love, if you saw his career, that's a first-round pick, or that's a first overall pick career almost. You know what Kevin Love's going to give you. You're not sure about Andrew Wiggins. LeBron needs to try to win in the next few years. He's going to start hitting 31, 32. I know he's still going to be good but he's going to decline a little bit.
I'm not sure they'd be better with Love for this reason. If you have Love and Kyrie Irving, you're talking about two guys that got to play 38 minutes a game.
Yeah.
Both of them are bad on defense. LeBron is an unbelievable defender, and Anderson Varejao is my favorite player in the league. But you're asking those guys to take on such a defensive role if you have Irving and Love on the court. And I think it leads to disaster.
My thing is, you basically just ripped Cleveland for how they managed their operation the first time he was there. Well, guess what? They traded all their young assets. They went out and got veterans trying to win now.
Love's not a vet.
No, he's 25 years old. He's not old by any means.
His body's getting old.
You don't trade.
He hadn't made a playoff game.
The number 1 overall pick for Kevin Love when you're trying to build this thing and do it the right way. Like, that's what got them in trouble the first time.
Injury prone. That's what I meant by his body.
And he ain't a very good teammate. Go ask J.J. Barea what kind of teammate Kevin Love is when he's throwing him under the bus for getting tired and not contributing in the third quarter,
you're a good
quarter.
teammate. They be winning.
What has he won?
Oh, they would be winning if he went to Cleveland because LeBron's going to win. LeBron's going to win.
Exactly, which means you can win with or without him because you got LeBron.
I'm saying he's going to win in the regular season. He's going to win. Cleveland's going to be an Eastern Conference finalist, I think, next year. To go over the top, I think you take Love.
Most people think Andrew Wiggins is NBA ready defensively right now.
I'd take his defense on the perimeter over Kevin Love's three-point shooter and rebounding.
You put LeBron.
You got rebounding in Verjao and Tristan Thompson.
Where's your three-point shooting?
You put LeBron James and Andrew Wiggins on the court together, and all of a sudden you got to shut down defense.
But we don't. I mean, he's like how old is
we
Wiggins?
Don't know.
20.
I
we don't
agree
know.
with you.
You know with Love. You don't know with Wiggins.
But we know what Kevin Love's drawback is: defense.
Like post defense, he's going to rip rebounds. He's a very good defensive rebounder.
He's turned into a volume shooter.
He's a fantastic.
And not a very. He doesn't have good shot selection at all. He's chucking. He's going from the main guy to the third option. He's not going to put up the numbers in Cleveland as he would in Minnesota.
Obviously,
I wouldn't do it. A lot of people would disagree with us. I wouldn't do it. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. If you're trying, just because you're trying to win now, there are ways that you can win now.
This isn't what they did in the past. It's just like go get Anton Jameson.
I don't think Kevin Love puts you over the hump for a championship.
This is a top 3, top 4 power forward.
You said where the shooting comes from. Kyrie Irving's a great 3-point shooter.
Mike
Miller signed there. LeBron's a good 3-point shooter. I don't think they're done. Deion Waiters. He's still young, but
talk about volume shooter.
Ray Allen might end up there.
Ray Allen could end up there. Like, there's a lot of things that still have to shake out.
Think Love's guaranteed. You know he's going to be huge for you the next 2 years. Wiggins is going to go through a lot of growing pains the next few years.
Yep, you're right. But I'd still go through. I'd want him to grow with me instead of growing with somebody else.
Love already said he would sign long term there if he got traded. So I mean, you can grow with Love. How old is Kevin Love really?
Probably 25. He's
25.
Same age as Russell Westbrook
exactly.
and those guys.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do it, but they might. Or he might go to Oakland.
NBA favorite at this point. Still got to be San Antonio, right?
Thunder, in my mind.
Why?
I think they're better. I think they're a more talented team. Well, first of all, Serge Ibaka was hurt the first 2 games, in case you forgot.
Oh, was he? He was hurt?
He was hurt.
I didn't remember.
Well, you're asking why after what I saw. Well, what I saw was not the full Thunder team.
What about the last 2 games?
What about them?
When the Spurs, in the big moments of that series,
they were playing the best basketball we've seen in quite a long time. Like, I don't think that was...
And they're missing, like, 0 people from that roster.
So what? The Thunder's better.
You still got
The Thunder's a more talented team. They replaced old guys and Caron Butler and Derek Fisher. Those guys aren't here anymore. Thabo Sefolosha, who couldn't make a shot. You're replacing them with more minutes for Reggie Jackson, Jeremy Lamb, Perry Jones, perhaps. More minutes for Steven Adams. Guys who are more talented players, more athletic players. The Spurs struggle with length and athleticism. The Thunder is going to put more length and athleticism on the court next year against San Antonio.
Look, the Thunder's the biggest threat. I could easily see them, taking the title from San Antonio.
Like, you asked me why, it was a dumb statement.
But after what we've seen, I just don't see how we can say that the Spurs aren't the favorites.
Here's the deal. It's 1-2 or 2-1. Those are clearly the 2 top. Here's the thing on the Spurs. They have taught us to stop doubting them.
Yep.
They've taught us that. However, what we've been saying for 6 years, just because they played unbelievable, doesn't mean it's not going to happen. They are going to run out of gas at some point. Tim Duncan and Manu Ginobili and even Tony Parker can't play like this forever. They can't. That's indisputable. And every year that goes by, it's more likely that the wall appears. So the question is, when does the wall appear this year? That's what the question
And
is.
I'd bet more on a 25-year-old Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook over a 37-year-old
I said
Tim
the
Duncan.
same thing last year.
He'll be 39, actually, I think so.
39.
I think he was 38 last year, wasn't he?
Jeez.
I said
that
this-
is impressive.
I know. That's the thing. I
Your
said
boy
the same
Jabari
thing.
Young from San Antonio asked, who's the better player, Tim Duncan or Dirk Nowitzki?
Now?
Well, I think it was in the history of their
Oh, that's
careers.
easy. Tim Duncan
Yeah,
is
I
like
don't
best
think it's
power
even
forward
close.
ever.
Like,
If we're
that's
talking
just-
now, I mean, I think Dirk probably makes more plays, and he's probably a better player right
Dirk's
now.
a
But
better
I mean,
offensive player, but
yeah.
Duncan still gives it to you defensively.
the fact that it's a question is just speaks to Duncan. Duncan's got 5 titles. I mean, no, in history, I don't think there's any question Duncan's up.
Yeah, Duncan turned 38 during the playoffs.
Yeah.
So he'll be 39 next spring. Gentlemen, I actually got to go. I got to go do my online chat out at H&H.
All right.
Thanks for
Get
joining
after
us.
I've enjoyed it.
It was good. We'll talk to you. You close to done? I'm good. I
You
don't
out?
got any more to say to this guy.
You apologize for LeBron. That's all it.
I-
Podcast is good as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, right. Were you right for the? I mean, did you think he was going there for the roster, or were you surprised how much it seemed to be that? And I think it seemed heartfelt that it was about the city.
The more, well, I wrote a piece. I don't know if you read it, but
I did.
worked
I
in-
actually read what you wrote. I mean, I know you didn't read.
I'll get right.
Anthony
I'll get
Morrow
right
had
on your.
42
I'll get right on
points
your
last
Anthony
time.
Morrow column. I worked up in Akron. I understand a little bit, as much as I could have been up there a year and a half. What the people are like up there, what that sports community is like, what he meant to that region. So obviously that was a huge, I think, pull on him. He knows it.
It clearly was. I mean, if you read his thing.
But at the same time, you can't overlook the rosters.
No, but I mean the fact that it almost became clear like he didn't look at any other teams there were some other
I never thought he
team-wide
would.
options.
I don't think so. Where was he
Phoenix
gonna go?
would have been
Phoenix?
interesting.
Phoenix?
It would have
Why
been
would he go to
interesting.
Phoenix?
I mean, you pair with Bledsoe, and they had a ton of space. They had enough space for him to go and say, hey, pick another guy. You want Melo? You want Bosch to come?
I mean, you got 3 number 1 overall picks in the last 4 years, and your hometown, essentially, in your backyard.
That I think the roster helped, but I mean, I think it was just about what happened 4 years ago, and him knowing that when he went back home, like people didn't really like him, and that's weird. I thought it was I think it was just weird,
But he talked a lot about that, and
That's
he
what I mean.
understands like the love-hate relationship. He understands the passion that those people have up there. Like it's a passionate sports town, even though it's been like
I
a
agree,
lousy
and
sports
I think he
town.
understood why people didn't like him because he's like, wow, I guess I kind of, he came to understand that he kind of betrayed them a little bit,
Right.
and he just didn't like how it ended. And I think that was as much of anything.
I just think when he was playing with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh, and he saw basically, I'm playing with 1.5 other guys on, a good day. Great day. It was.
I think
they both showed up.
a better idea. If he was strictly going off, I need to win a title the next couple of years. I think he would have said, I'll sign a big 1-2-year deal in Miami with an option next offseason. Go after one more run in Miami,
know,
and then
you
look
guys
at.
said that a second ago. I don't know that Miami was going to be right back at it next year.
I
don't
bet
think they
you
were gonna be
Miami
right
with
back there
LeBron
next
would have
year.
been better than Cleveland with LeBron. Next year.
They needed some help, and they didn't have a way to get that help. Clearly, those guys didn't want to take massive pay cuts. LeBron didn't. Bosh. I mean, it sounded like
Bosh was
Bosh might have been willing, and Dwayne Wade showed again that he's willing. But still,
They wouldn't
even
have
with
opted out
those
if
two
they weren't
guys,
willing to take
even
pay
though
cuts.
LeBron didn't want to
What?
take a pay cut.
Well, he wasn't going to. I'm saying the other guys wouldn't have
and
opted out.
And they still would have been hard pressed to get more talent around them.
Yeah, I mean they would have got McRoberts obviously, and then just brought a ton of these guys back. But the thing is,
That wasn't going to cut
they
it.
easily won the East last year.
Yeah,
Easily.
but that wasn't going to cut. I mean, we're not talking about winning the East.
Well, guess what?
We're talking about the Spurs,
But my argument
the
is,
Clippers, the Thunder,
if the Spurs
the Blazers,
and the Thunder
the
are playing,
Rockets.
if the Spurs and the Thunder are playing like they are next year, like they were this year, he's not going to beat that Spurs team with that Cleveland roster. I don't think there's a chance he doesn't get out of the East. So we're talking strictly, like I said, if it was strictly a team-wide thing, he'd sign a big max 1 to 2 year deal in Miami with an option, and then look at his options
just like
again
you
next
said,
summer.
Cleveland could get to the Eastern Conference Finals. I agree with that. And Miami was probably going to get at least
Miami
that far
is probably
too,
gonna
right?
win the East again.
But if you're giving yourself a chance to be there, then I think you're putting yourself in a good position to where anything can happen at that point. But Miami, I didn't see them winning at all. Like, I don't think there was this lock or guarantee that they were going to
not if the Spurs
get
were playing
back
like that.
and win it all, just because he was going to be again with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh.
I think it was very, very likely they were going to get back to the finals, and then they would have been the underdogs in the finals. But all I'm arguing is if we were strictly talking about next year, they would have had a better chance than Cleveland will next year. I'm not saying Cleveland can. I'm just saying a better shot. I understand why he went to Cleveland. I love the story that he went to Cleveland. I just think
you a Cavs fan now?
No.
Okay.
No chance. But I just think, it might have been interesting if he just signed a 1 year deal in Miami and then went back next year and looked at his options again. One last thing.
What you got?
Houston Rockets.
What
Nightmare
about
offseason.
What about him?
Nightmare
I'm
offseason.
tired of talking about Houston. Guess what? Daryl Morey gets all this credit. I think I've talked about this before.
You have.
The guy let Chandler Parsons go, took a huge risk.
Could have had him at, what, 900,000?
Now the guy is getting $15 million.
Yeah, it was
I love
a
Chandler
risk.
Parsons' game. I love his, he's just a cool dude.
You're not
humble.
alone in this state.
But like, $15 million for Chandler Parsons?
Yeah. Dallas I think Dallas just knew to even have a chance to have them not match the offer sheet, they had to make it ridiculous. So they did.
Yeah, that. I mean, Trevor Ariza is he's a good get. He's not as good as Barry just made him out to be. He had a really good season, but it was a contract year, and we know how that happens. So I think he's going to keep you afloat, but he's not like, I would have rather had Chandler Parsons at $900,000.
Daryl Morey went for an absolute grand slam home run, and he was very close to it. If Chris Bosh says, you know what, and apparently he was close, goes and takes that deal in Houston, they've already said they're going to then match Parsons, which they could have, and they have what I think would be right up there with the Spurs and Thunder. I mean, maybe they need a year to gel, but that rotation with Beverly, Harden, Parsons, Bosh, and Howard, that's an incredible starting five.
God forbid you get in foul trouble.
Yeah, right.
You got nothing else.
No. But
you see who they're signing now? Joey Dorsey.
Jeff Adrian.
Like, that's without Chris Bosh and Chandler Parsons.
Well, I think they're trying to set themselves up because, they took a step back. I know they're trying to go after Rondo. They just don't have assets to trade anymore. I think they're going to try to figure something out next offseason. Obviously, he's willing to do some creative things. I just said, it's almost to me like the Heat, Ray Allen misses that three or he never gets that three look and they lose to the Spurs a couple of years ago. That season's looked at as a failure. The LeBron eras maybe looked as a failure. Only one title in 4 years. But Ray Allen hits it. They look everything good. That to me is like the Bosh deciding to go to Houston or not. If Bosh goes, Houston looks great. Morey looks incredible. They have a title contender right away. Wow, all this maneuvering he did is great. Bosh doesn't decide to. They can't then go get Parsons because it'll screw them up financially. And it's like, now it looks like a nightmare.
What would have been a better starting lineup? Beverly, Harden, Parsons, Bosh, Howard.
That's good.
Westbrook, Lamb, Durant, Ibaka, Stone Cold.
Well, Stone Cold. Stone Cold just bowing Howard. Those are two powerhouses.
The two best players are in Oklahoma City.
Yeah, but then oh man. Yeah, but right after him, we're talking right after him, Harden, Howard, Bosh. Those are three great players.
Yep.
Parsons is, as we mentioned, a very, very good player.
Yeah. And Beverly's
a
decent.
great perimeter defender. You got good defense. Think about that. Obviously Harden's a liability. Howard's great defensively. Bosh has shown he's a good defender. Beverly's great defensively, and Parsons is all right.
That would have been a hell of a playoff series,
man. With all the rivalries and stuff, they need to get Francisco Garcia back. But just, I'm
it's
almost
going to be interesting to see what Houston does.
Best thing that happened to the Thunder this offseason, Bosh doesn't go to Houston, and Powell doesn't go to San Antonio.
That's the best thing that, what?
Happened for the Thunder. is Powell not going to San Antonio and Bosh not going to Houston. They both stayed in the East.
Thunder caught a break.